This is 5 on your side at 10.
Tonight, our storm chances are dropping, but the heat and humidity is on the rise, and it's going to reach dangerous levels this week. Good evening. I'm Ann Allred.
And I'm Mike Bush. We could have several days in the 100s this week, so let's get straight over to Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell. Scott?
First thing, we were talking about the potential of thunderstorms for tonight and into early tomorrow. While there's a slight potential, the radar pretty much on the clear side right now. We had a few little spritzes going by to our south. We're not showing anything, and it doesn't look like there's anything imminent. That does play a role in where we're headed with the heat and humidity. We already have plenty of humidity across the region without any additional showers and thunderstorms. Our dew points have been running in the mid to upper 70s. A few places have been right around 80 for a dew point. That's absolutely miserable. How does that make a difference? Well, when the dew point's around 80, that's about the maximum amount the air can hold in moisture. And it also means that our body can't cool off. This is what it's going to feel like for you tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. 105 to maybe as high as 112 degrees on your heat index. Our bodies really have a hard time cooling off because even though we're sweating, if you are sweating, which would be a good thing in heat like this, your body's just not able to get rid of that cooling. So Perry County in Missouri, Perry County, Illinois, and Jefferson County, Illinois, along with the rest of southeastern portions of Missouri and southern portions of Illinois in the Paducah forecast area, they've been bumped up to an excessive heat warning. The rest of us have a heat advisory tomorrow, and that's going to run right on through Wednesday. It may get upgraded. It's certainly possible. And while storms are not expected overnight, it's not a 0% chance either. There might be one or two that pops up. Otherwise, muggy, warm conditions, and then that wicked heat builds back in here tomorrow, continues through the middle of the week. We'll talk more about the break that may come later in this week and why it may not necessarily be on the thermometer, and that's in about 10 minutes.
Thank you, Scott. St. Louisans, we're certainly no strangers to the summer heat, but this week we are reaching into that dangerous territory. Our Pepper Baker is live downtown with what you should be doing now to stay safe and keep cool.
And drinking water and staying in the shade are really good tips that apply to everyone. But these rising temperatures are really going to impact people who are living without air conditioning.
I'm sweating out here and I'm sweating in my house.
George McDonald has been living without air conditioning for 5 months.
I got a pregnant woman living in the house with me. I got a baby on the way. I can't bring no newborn in the house and it's 102 degrees outside, but it feel like 188 degrees in my house.
Several people living in the Pleasant View Garden Apartments in Ferguson who didn't want to go on camera said they're also dealing with the same problem.
I just been sitting in the house with about 4 or 5 different fans going, and you know that's gonna run up with the electric bill.
Gentry Trotter with Cool Down St. Louis gets daily calls from people living with broken air conditioners.
We tell them to go to the landlords first and make sure that those landlords accept the responsibility that's on the lease, that they're supposed to help them with cooling and heating year round, and if they don't, then they need to call the station.
I went down there and told them personally, I put the order in, can y'all come down here and fix my air? They still ain't do it.
Trotter says the most at risk for heat-related illnesses are the elderly, people with disabilities, and children. It's always a good idea to check on your neighbors.
We want you to go to their house. We want you to feel them to make sure their body is not overheated, to make sure their electric is on, to make sure that their air conditionings are in good working conditions, and make sure those filters are clean.
Trotter suggests staying with neighbors or friends who have air conditioning or visiting one of the cooling shelters listed on the St. Louis City and County websites.
Do what you can do to stay out of the heat so you can beat the heat, because the heat will beat you.
Cool Down St. Louis has applications available on their website for anybody in need of utility assistance. And the city of St. Louis also has a list of designated cooling shelters that you can find on their website. But we have all that information available on ksdk.com. Live in St. Louis, Pepper Baker, 5 on your side.
Some frozen custard would hit the spot on a hot day, but a scare tonight at the Silkies in Ellisville. Someone driving a motorcycle west on Manchester fired 3 shots towards Silkies, hitting the building and 2 cars. We just got off the phone with police who tell us that the highway patrol pursued the driver and the pursuit ended in a crash. The suspected shooter is now in custody, and they added no one was injured in the shooting. Silky's closed for the night. Tonight, Democrats and Republicans are doing what almost no one thought they could do: reach a deal on guns.
This could lead to the most significant changes to gun laws in this country in decades.
To think that a group of senators, bipartisan group, can come together and take measured but important steps forward toward gun safety is nothing short of a political miracle.
This comes just weeks after the mass shootings at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, and a supermarket in Buffalo, New York.
This is a compromise far short of what Democrats wanted. The deal does not include an assault weapons ban. It does include mental health resources, improvement for school safety, and enhanced background checks for 18 to 21-year-olds, and stricter penalties for straw purchases, which is buying firearms for another person. It has the support of 10 Republicans, which is enough to overcome a Senate filibuster. An initial vote could happen within 2 weeks. President Biden tweeted today saying the bill doesn't cover everything, but it is a step in the right direction.
Tonight, we're learning a murder-suicide in North St. Louis County that left 2 teenagers dead involved cousins from Georgia. Just a few hours ago, investigators released their identities. The victim is 15-year-old Quintez Robinson. Investigators say he was shot and killed by 19-year-old Tadrius Jackson, who then turned the gun on himself. The cousins lived at the same address in Georgia, but were found shot last night in the backyard of a home on Shepley Drive in Glasgow Village. Neighbors we talked with are concerned about the rise in youth gun violence.
It's not just 19, 18, it's 14, it's 13-year-olds, it's 12-year-olds walking around here with guns. So, you know, they have to do something about it.
According to data our newsroom is tracking, the 15-year-old victim marks the 61st child shot in St. Louis this year. If you have any information on the case, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. The number is 866-371-TIPS. About 90 minutes ago, we got an update on a 1-year-old girl shot in the head in North City Friday night. Police tell us she's still alive. According to investigators, a 22-year-old man tried to carjack a woman when gunshots rang out. The woman was not hurt, but the suspect was found nearby suffering from gunshot wounds. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition. 2 local men are behind bars right now in Idaho after being arrested along with members of a white supremacist group known as the Patriot Front.
They're charged with conspiracy to riot near a pride event. 5 on your side's Holden Kerwicki spent the last several hours digging into the group. Holden?
Well, Mike, and the group has been around since the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia back in 2017 and now boasts hundreds of members across multiple states. However, according to the Anti-Defamation League, they've been active in our area and have even had recent run-ins with the law.
They came to riot downtown.
Police Chief Lee White didn't mix his words after arresting more than 30 members of the Patriot Front who were packed into a U-Haul near a pride rally in Idaho.
I would gladly arrest 31 individuals who are coming to riot in our city for a misdemeanor rather than have them participate in some sort of seriously disruptive event, which is exactly what they were planning.
While the group is well known to law enforcement agencies across the country,
they're an American neo-Nazi group. They're a white supremacist organization. They spout virulent, racist, anti-Semitic rhetoric.
Jordan Kadosh of the Anti-Defamation League says 2 members of the group, 23-year-old Garrett Garland of Freeburg and 24-year-old Mitchell Wagner of Florissant, are also known by local authorities after it's believed Wagner defaced a mural honoring African Americans on the campus of Washington University.
These flash mob demonstrations are something that they favor. We also know that they favor stenciling graffiti.
Kadosh says recent reports of propaganda on both sides of the bi-state can be directly tied to Patriot Front.
And they are responsible for over 80% of the white supremacist propaganda in the United States.
These guys stopped a U-Haul full of dudes.
However, Wagner's attorney, Michael Kilty, says the group doesn't have a reputation for violence and suggested the entire case could come down to a First Amendment issue.
They still have their rights until they're proven guilty. And we understand that. But this is really just about keeping an eye on them. This offline propaganda is more than just chatting in a chat room and espousing your views. This symbolizes action going out in the world and willing to act on your beliefs.
Both Wagner and Garland face misdemeanor conspiracy charges in this case and were given a $300 bond. Mike?
Holden, thanks. Happening right now, MoDOT beginning, finally, a delayed project on the Blanchett Bridge. 2 eastbound lanes will be closed overnight while crews seal the driving surface. The work has been delayed by staffing shortages and weather. There will be nightly closures in the eastbound lanes nightly from 8 p.m. until 5 a.m. Friday morning. There are nearly 330 million Americans in the U.S. But are we outnumbered by guns? We verify. A walk for hope. The steps you can still take to help in the fight against muscular dystrophy.
It's not the heat, it's the humidity. You've heard it said 1,000 times, and so true this week in St. Louis. We'll explain what that humidity does the next few days and why towards the weekend we get a bit of a break.
A special remembrance today for the victims of the Pulse nightclub shooting. The bell at this Orlando church tolled 49 times, each remembering the 49 people gunned down inside the popular gay club 6 years ago today. Tonight, another ceremony was held at the memorial on the shooting site. 6 years and several more mass shootings later, there is finally bipartisan support on that gun control legislation. The debate on Capitol Hill has led to several claims online. Abby Larico from our Verify team looks into a claim on the number of guns in the U.S.
Some people, including Democratic politicians, claim the United States has more guns than people and that the U.S. has more guns per person than any other country. Let's verify. We looked at data from Small Arms Survey, an international firearm research firm, the U.S. Census, and talked to two gun law professors, Jacob Charles from Duke University and Jody Madera from Indiana University. They say
there are more guns than people in the United States.
The United States does actually have more firearms per citizen than other countries by an exponential magnitude.
Let's take a look at the most recent data from 2017. That year, the Small Arms Survey found that there were 393 million civilian-held firearms in the U.S. That same year, according to the U.S. Census, there were 326 million American citizens. That's about 121 guns for every 100 residents. The next country on the list is Yemen, with just 53 per 100 people, then Montenegro with 39. So we can verify, yes, based on the latest data, there are more guns than people in the U.S. and more guns per person than any other country. In fact, that Small Arms Survey study found that 4 out of 10 firearms in the world are held by U.S. civilians. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
What can we verify for you? Send us an email to verify@ksdk.com.
Someone once said, once you choose hope, anything is possible. That was the attitude of some people who recently gathered in Forest Park. As you'll learn in tonight's Making a Difference report, when it comes to fighting muscular dystrophy, hope is often the best medicine.
Silent whisper.
This is my son Holden. He's 13 months old and he's got Duchenne muscular dystrophy.
I heard it speak of change, of change.
It was devastating. I mean, you have expectations and dreams for your children when they're born, and none of them involve diseases like this.
Our son Ryan passed away in 2006.
Here to celebrate just being together as a community, being here for the Muscular Dystrophy Association. The Muscular Dystrophy Association helps support families in so many different ways, in terms of research, in terms of just helping families get access to the resources they need. The MDA is all over the country, and they really do work hard to support these families that really need assistance in figuring out how to manage day-to-day life.
I heard somebody's cry for help.
Although there is no treatment or cure for my particular form of muscular dystrophy, just knowing what it was a relief. For me, has been an opportunity to advocate for people with invisible disabilities.
This is more than just a walk. This is a chance to see familiar faces, reunite, and empower our kids.
Money is essential. Unfortunately, it's essential to make some of these things happen.
And there's a lot of hope. I'm filled with a lot of hope because of all of the treatments coming through trial right now. I'm very excited about what possibilities might be for him in his future.
We're just glad to be able to support the MDA.
Hope is very important.
And an early reminder, Ann and I will be back at Grant's Farm this coming Labor Day weekend for the annual MDA Telethon. And if you know an inspiring person or someone making a difference for others, let me know by email at mbush@kstk.com.
Love was in the air today at Tower Grove Park. Several couples renewed their vows today for the Love in the Park event. It was all part of the park's 150th anniversary. Tower Grove Park has been the site of countless weddings, proposals, and engagement photos. And you can see it kind of rained on their wedding day. The couples had to take shelter after storms moved through. Hey, it's good luck. Just like when a bird, you know what's on your head, right?
It could be a lot worse, Scott, because that heat that's coming tomorrow, oh my goodness.
Yeah, you know, and we had the air show today too, and that same cell was the one that went from the air show towards Tower Grove, had everybody kind of scrambling at the air show. Fortunately, it didn't become severe and kind of fizzled out as it moved across and into Illinois. And we're pretty quiet across the area tonight. Partly cloudy skies. That's about it right now. Radar sweep, we've kind of toned it down so we wouldn't be seeing all the ground clutter that's out there because there's a lot of bugs out there for sure. We did have a couple of little spritzes slide by to the south of St. Louis. And sure, you know, this upper level system is building in and we're still kind of on the northern fringes of it. And you see thunderstorms developing back into Kansas. That'll swing by most likely in the northern portions of Missouri overnight. So while we're not at a 0% chance of rain overnight, it's really a low chance that we would see anything popping up. Problem is, we're still 85 and it feels like it's 94 degrees right now, courtesy of your dew point of 76 degrees. Our morning low was 77. 94 was the high. That's not a record, of course, for today, but that 77 is a low temperature tonight. We're probably not going to drop much below 80 around town, outlying areas in the upper 70s. That becomes part of the problem with the heat and the humidity. Now, tomorrow we're going to be a lot warmer. We go above 100 degrees. We will break the record high tomorrow at 102. On Tuesday, we'll have a new record high temperature when we hit 101. We'll probably miss the record on Wednesday just at 100 degrees. The chance for showers and thunderstorms minimal here. As we head through the overnight into tomorrow morning, we will have some morning clouds, but the main focus will be well to the north of St. Louis, leaving us hot and steamy. The humidity levels are likely to peak tomorrow across the region into Tuesday. Some of us may be flirting with dew points around 80 degrees, especially now that the trees have all leafed out and they'll be kind of, you know, sweating. They'll be giving off moisture in the air. Peak heat index 112 degrees is what we're looking at for tomorrow afternoon in St. Louis, all because this upper level ridge is just kind of backing over St. Louis. And as we go through the week, it's right over us and then it starts to shift towards the west of us as we head into the upcoming weekend. So what does that do for our heat index values? It means the humidity levels are going to drop off a little bit towards the end of the week along with our high temperatures, but we're still dealing with the heat and humidity and it's still brutal. So we're going to limit our physical activity. We're going to make sure we're drinking lots of water, wearing our light colored, lightweight clothing, staying in air conditioning, checking on our older neighbors, making sure they're using their air conditioning, staying out of the sun. Don't forget your pets and your kids. It's hard on them too, and kids aren't going to tell you if they're outside playing that they're hot. CoolDownSt.Louis.org. You can make a donation, help some of our older folks who will need some help getting air conditioners and paying that electric bill, but they need to do it because of medical conditions, and we need to keep them safe in this kind of heat. Triple-digit heat the next 3 days for actual highs, and your heat index tomorrow afternoon and again Tuesday afternoon could be around 112. By the time we get to the weekend, still above 90. Humidity levels, though, will have dropped off quite a bit by the weekend.
Drink lots of water. All right, Scott, thanks.
Coming up, the toilet paper shortage, that affected everybody. Now the latest shortage in that personal hygiene aisle is affecting only women. We are less than 12 hours away from the second January 6th House Select Committee hearing.
Former Trump 2020 campaign manager Bill Stepien will testify tomorrow. Conservative election attorney Ben Ginsburg, who is an expert on election fraud, is expected to testify there was no evidence of widespread fraud in 2020. Other witnesses include a former political editor at Fox News and election officials from Georgia and Pennsylvania.
There is a new shortage on store shelves. It's only affecting women. Feminine hygiene products, especially tampons, are in short supply. Procter & Gamble, the maker of Tampax, says it is working to increase production. Analysts are saying the rising cost of cotton is one of the reasons for the shortage and a recent price hike of products.
A startling announcement tonight from country music superstar Toby Keith. The singer announced on Twitter that he's been battling stomach cancer for the last 6 months. The tweet reveals he underwent surgery and has received chemotherapy and radiation. He is said to be recovering well. Keith is expected to perform in the Chicago area on Friday.
It's been 3 years since the Blues made history. The hours you have left to score some one-of-a-kind Stanley Cup memorabilia. Meet me at the Muni. The 2022 season opens tomorrow night in Forest Park, the first show in an encore performance of Chicago. It was cut short after 3 shows last August because of a COVID outbreak among the cast. The Muni is returning to its normal 7-show season for the first time since 2019. Other shows this season included Camelot, Mary Poppins, Sweeney Todd, Legally Blonde, The Color Purple, and Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Today is We Went Blues Day. 3 years ago today, the St. Louis Blues won their first Stanley Cup championship. And to celebrate, an online auction is underway right now featuring paintings of Braden Shen, Colton Parayko, and Craig Berube, along with game-issued Stanley Cup jerseys and autographed pucks. The auction on the Blues website ends tomorrow night at 9. And there you have it, 5 on your side at 10.
Here is Frank Cusimano with Sports Plus.